was originally supposed to be. I remember like 3 or 4 years ago, I was hearing Top Gun 2 about drones, and at some point they said no because it's not heroic.
They're so boring.
We don't want to tell.
boring.
We can't tell the real story. We can't have Tom Cruise involved in telling the real story of a military that that machine we told you builds characters. It literally hollows them out.
Yeah,
right. You psychopath.
You couldn't even have them flying F-35s, as they mentioned, in the beginning of the movie, because the F-35 expressly is not designed to do dogfighting. It's designed to like lay off 1,000 miles away and pulverize something over the horizon. It's sort of like in a space between a drone and a plane that could be used in a air-to-air context.
Also, I read that one of the reasons that they didn't use the F-35 is that the cockpit doesn't look cool. The cockpit doesn't give like that dramatic like one person in charge of a stick thing that the F-18 does. So they're like, this is lame. It looks like they're driving a fucking Pontiac Aztec. Get out of here. Looks like they're they're gonna get a fucking cappuccino from the drive-thru at Starbucks in their Land Rover. Get out of here.
And I think Derek and Danny and I talked about yesterday as far as the original Top Gun goes. It's like in the entire military, like there is nothing cooler than being a fighter pilot.
Absolutely.
Because but in the actual nature of war, like bombers are way more important than fighter jets. But like any movie about bombers is just reveals the squalid, depressing nature of war, which is just like, oh, we have the mission to like take out the enemy's water treatment facilities. But when it's like it's two gleaming steel cocks just jousting in the sky, you can engage. Like Danny, you were talking about like the whole myth of like air power was like the myth of kind of like a bloodless war, where like the best, most alpha jocks of two countries who are warring with each other just come together and just fuck each other to death in the sky, and that determines who wins and loses the war. Great. I wish all wars were fought like that, but that's not really why we have airplanes that can, shoot missiles and bombs from a great height in our military arsenal.
All it's left to do is to tell the story.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to hear the real thing it is. So we still need this. We still need these programs. Yeah. We still need these machines. Just fun because it provides massive amounts of graft throughout the military-industrial complex. Keeps all those factories and all those different states that all make different components for the thing that they put together like fucking Legos afterwards. It does all that, but it also tells a story of war that could possibly be heroic.
Yeah, yeah.
And it tells convey heroism as like a value that is brought into being.
It's the oldest story of war. It's Hector versus Achilles. It's a one-on-one dog fighting.
Greek
most
heroic.
It's literally. This is not to be too hoity-toity, but Top Gun really operates in like a mythic register. It's like a real deal movie. It feels different from Marvel movies because it's operating on sort of that mass mythic level that so few movies do any longer.
Which, and by the way, that makes it very funny that one of the chief defenses of superhero movies is, well, actually, they're modern they're modern myths. It's like, no,
totally wrong.
No, this is a modern myth. It's not just that. Oh, he's got superpowers like the gods do. What are you, 12 years old? It's that
this is about valor and
the stories are in the mythic structures that like hit our grooves. As opposed to, what do we do to get Captain Bongo to meet Professor Dipshit?
And by the way, Matt,
pitch the next movie.
By the way, I've seen a lot of people try to block the shine of Top Gun Maverick by saying like, I'm seeing a lot of people who shit on the Marvel movies for being military propaganda, just cream themselves over Top Gun Maverick, which is explicitly military propaganda. And I'm saying, yes, it is, but it happens to be good and effective propaganda. Good. It's good.
Movies are supposed to be good. They're not good for you.
Here's the thing, though. Like, when Chris Hemsworth does his hammer shit, there's no weight to it at all. It's just they're prancing around in front of a green screen. In Top Gun Maverick, I swear to God, there's a scene where I can see Miles Teller shit himself when that plane hits like 6 or 7 Gs. Like, that's movie fucking magic right there. That's fucking movie magic. So yes, of course Top Gun is military propaganda. As successful as Top Gun Maverick has been, and it's a fucking blockbuster already, I don't think it will juice the Navy's recruitment numbers the same way the original Top Gun did. I'm going on a limb here.
It honestly does make it terrifying. There's one detail that's just has still stuck with me, and movies of this size do not stick with me anymore. Like shit through a goose. It's when they're doing the final bombing run and they're getting engaged with by the fucking surface air missiles and stuff. the rear, like the laser target guy, the nerd, the glasses guy, Bob, played by Louis Pullman. So he's like he's looking to try to get a visual of where these planes are for the pilot. And when he turns his back to look back, he takes his hand and he puts his hand on the inside of the bubble on the window. And for some reason that just struck me like that's like a unconscious like movement. I would always assume you keep your hands on the stick or whatever, but it showed vulnerability and like real fear. And it's like when Dr. Bongo is running through the streets, no one is scared of anything. Nothing bad can happen to anyone. Like this glasses guy could absolutely get turned into paste, and this movie still fucking works.
Well, so like I said, back to the plot of the movie. Maverick Mitchell is sent back to the Top Gun school to train the best Top Gun graduates to do a war crime against the sovereign nations.
Illegal, unauthorized military action in the sovereign nation.
Okay, so you already had Admiral Raisin Kane, played by Ed Harris, but the real stupid chief in this movie is former Top Gun graduate Warlock, played by John Hamm. And here's what I'll say: I thought John Hamm was great in this movie, and I'll say this: I like John Hamm when he's playing a real fucking prick, like in Richard Jewell. In this, I don't like when John Hamm tries to yuck it up. When he tries to be a funny, cool, nice guy, it doesn't work for me. But when John Hamm is a real motherfucker, that's when he comes out to shine. And John Hamm was a great foil for Cruise in this movie. He's the head of the illegal war crime operation, and of course is the stupid chief who's just like, stop being cool. You have to stop being cool, Maverick.
Damn it!
Damn it! This is the Navy. He's like, the only reason you're here, you were not. Just so you know, you were not my first choice. You're only here because of the occluded admiral in this movie, Iceman Kazansky. Iceman Kazansky. That's right. Yeah. He's chilling in the Admiral's Club for most of this movie, but Val Kilmer as Iceman is back, and I tweeted this the other day. Out of all of the details in this movie, the one that really sealed it for me, like my favorite moment of the movie, was not any of the incredible dogfights, was not the hitting 8Gs into like a pure, just straight up, like, just pure arc, just straight into the air. My favorite part of the movie is when Maverick and Ice are texting each other, like presumably on Grindr. That's how they communicate. And there's just a bubble of text that just says Ice is typing. That just hit me in my heart so much. I love that. But then, okay, so Tom Cruise, Maverick, he only gets this job because the occluded Admiral Iceman is still protecting his career after he should have been drummed out of the Navy decades ago, probably. But then we meet the new characters, the new fighter jocks, and you've got Coyote, you've got Payback, you've got Hangman, you've got Phoenix, and then you've got Rooster. the son
also Fanboy.
Yes,
fanboy. My least favorite. That's like I was like, okay,
that was a cringe immediately.
And of course, Bob, which I thought was a funny joke because he doesn't have a call sign. He's just like, I'm Bob. It's just everyone calls me Bob. So and then it's a little bit like I think a little bit of tribute to the "You've Lost That Love and Feeling" scene where Tom Cruise tries to have carnal knowledge of a woman this time on the premises of the bar. So like all the cool new fighter jocks, like they don't know that Tom Cruise is their teacher yet, and they meet him in the bar and they humiliate him by throwing him out because he can't pay his tab. But there's already some beef between Rooster and Maverick because Maverick, of course, killed his father, but also not so much that he pulled Rooster's application from the Naval Academy and hurt his career because he was just like
took 4 years away from his career.
So many war crimes he could have committed by then.
He had to go to grad. He had to go to grad school in those 4 years. Just avoid reality a little bit.
This is weird, right? I mean, like he pulls his application, but then 4 years later? Like you only get one of those if you're in the Navy. Like if you're a captain, you can only pull like one kid's application for the Naval Academy. Like he couldn't do it again. He was blocked somehow.
And this is why he let him do it the second time because presumably he would have had to.
He just forgot about it.
He could have done like a Navy ROTC at a school or at his school or something. So that's what he should have done, or something along those lines. But Matt, I actually had a question because we didn't get to talk about it yesterday. But like, what's your take on the California aspect of the movie? Because in the first one, it makes more sense. California is a liminal space. Maverick, there's that whole gay subplot about Maverick, finding himself, the life and death of being Top Gun. But what do you think in this one, the role that California, and also like we'll talk about on our episode, the sort of Tony Scott of it all with the beautiful oranges and stuff. So what do you think California plays here? Because in some sense, it's even more of a setting than in the first one.
I mean, I think it plays its traditional role as embodiment of like finitude, like America ends at California, literally. America has to like self-reflect in California for the first time. And these recent movies by Tom Cruise, this one more than anyone, is really him in that process of like reckoning with his limitations, because he's starting to crack a little bit. You can tell. I mean, yes, he's still willing to try to kill himself at every movie he makes now, but you can see like the lines are forming. Like he did that filler thing where he looked like Norm Macdonald, and then he pulled those out, and then like the creases are it's starting to happen. There's one line in this movie. The first line he says to them when he's introducing the mission is, "Time is your biggest adversary."
Yes.
Right.
And then he says it again at the end of the setup.
Yeah.
He sandwiches it. And then he's looking, and that shot is him looking straight at the camera, filling the screen. And you can see the lines, "Time is your greatest adversary." And like that, this movie is all about him. And of course, by extension, America, the empire he represents, reflecting on like how do you process like the reality of decline when you are not built to confront that, when you are literally designed to suppress and sublimate that. How do you deal with that new like impossible cognitive dissonance?